One only dies once, and if one does not die well, a good opportunity is lost and will not present itself again. The youth is the hope of our future. He who does not know how to look back at where he came from will never get to his destination. He who does not love his own language is worse than an animal and smelly fish. There can be no tyrants where there are no slaves. It is a useless life that is not consecrated to a great ideal. It is like a stone wasted on the field without becoming a part of any edifice. Justice is the foremost virtue of the civilizing races. It subdues the barbarous nations, while injustice arouses the weakest. While a people preserves its language, it preserves the marks of liberty. To doubt God is to doubt one's own conscience, and in consequence, it would be to doubt everything, and then what is life for? My mother is not a woman of ordinary culture. She knows literature and speaks Spanish better than I do. She even corrected my poems and gave me advice when I was studying rhetoric. The Filipino embraces civilization and lives, and thrives in every clime, in contact with every people. When there is in nature no fixed condition, how much less must there be in the life of a people, beings endowed with mobility and movement? We young Filipinos are trying to make over a nation, and must not halt in our march, but from time to time turn our gaze upon our elders. We shall wish to read in their countenances approval of our actions. The people no longer has confidence in its former protectors. Now its exploiters and executioners, the masks have fallen. Wealth brings with it refinement, the spirit of conservation, while poverty inspires adventurous ideas, the desire to change things, and has little care for life. The batteries are gradually becoming charged, and if the prudence of the government does not provide an outlet for the currents that are accumulating, someday the spark will be generated. Necessity is the most powerful divinity the world knows, and necessity is the resultant of physical forces set in operation by ethical forces. History does not record in its annals any lasting domination exercised by one people over another, of different race, of diverse usages and customs, of opposite and divergent ideals. One of the two had to yield and succumb. Perhaps the great American Republic, whose interests lie in the Pacific and who has no hand in the spoliation of Africa, may someday dream of foreign possession. The Spaniard is gallant and patriotic and sacrifices everything. In favorable moments, for his country's good, he has the intrepidity of his bull. Spain, must we someday tell Filipinos that thou hast no ear for her woes, and that if she wishes to be saved, she must redeem herself? Routine is a declivity down which many governments slide, and routine says that freedom of the press is dangerous. Of what use are all the codes in the world, if by means of confidential reports, if for trifling reasons, if through anonymous traitors any honest citizen may be exiled or banished without a hearing, without a trial? The Philippine races, like all the Malays, do not succumb before the foreigner, like the Australians, the Polynesians, and the Indians of the New World. If the Philippines secure their independence after heroic and stubborn conflicts, they can rest assured that neither England, nor Germany, nor France, and still less Holland, will dare to take up what Spain has been unable to hold. The divine flame of thought is inextinguishable in the Filipino people, and somehow or other it will shine forth and compel recognition. It is impossible to brutalize the inhabitants of the Philippines. since it is necessary to grant 6 million Filipinos their rights, so that they may be in fact Spaniards. Let the government grant these rights freely and spontaneously, without damaging reservations, without irritating mistrust. It is probable that England will look favorably upon the independence of the Philippines, for it will open their ports to her and afford greater freedom to her commerce. Orientals, and the Malays in particular, are a sensitive people. Delicacy of sentiment is predominant with them. There now exists a factor which was formerly lacking. The spirit of the nation has been aroused, and a common misfortune, a common debasement, has united all the inhabitants of the islands. China will consider herself fortunate if she succeeds in keeping herself intact and is not dismembered or partitioned among the European powers that are colonizing the continent of Asia.